Hello, everybody. I hope that everybody's well. And I wanted to do another live today because there's been a lot of stuff going on in terms of looking at transcripts and the Delphi case, and I guess wanting to pull apart some of the stuff that I've been looking at. My opinions have evolved a little bit over time as we've been able to look at the evidence closer. I've done more research and been able to look at the transcripts a little bit more too. So I thought I'd go through, I guess, the latest in terms of the things that I feel are important when it comes to looking at the case against Rick Allen. So one thing that hasn't changed in the last few months is my opinion and resolve that Rick Allen is innocent. That isn't about to change unless something drastic gets revealed, and I don't anticipate that happening based on everything that I have looked at. But what has changed is just an evolution of some of the ideas. There are things that I felt were worthy of exploration several months ago when I started getting really heavily involved in the case, that I believe still are, but I think there's been a little bit of an evolution of my ideas around them. Like sometimes I was kind of feeling like the something was off, but maybe didn't quite know what it was, or kind of took a few missteps in terms of what it was specifically, but the overall track I feel has been maintained, if that makes sense. So I've actually just done a big post on my Reddit about this, on my Reddit. It's not my Reddit, but, you know, the subreddit that I developed to be able to have a voice in this community. And so I thought I'd go through it because I think that way it'll keep me a little bit more on track rather than going off on a zillion tangents like I usually do. So basically what I wanted to talk about in this video is the flaws in the case against Rick Allen. All of us know that not all of us who believe Rick Allen is innocent know that there are flaws in this case. Most of us know that there was a fair amount of bias and unfairness. And I guess I'm just focusing in and highlighting some of the ones that I've been digging into a bit more. I know that there are others. I'm not trying to say that this is everything, but there's some pretty good points in the stuff here that I think can certainly add to the discussion. So let's start off with one of my favorite topics. One of the things that really, I guess, became a big thing that I've discussed over time on this case, and that is the Hoosa Harvest store footage. I mean, we call it footage. Nobody's seen the footage. We've seen the stills. I guess looking at some of the discovery documents that have been shown online, the defense did get the actual footage that was collected by the FBI. So there is apparently a video. So that's a good thing, I suppose, but nobody seems to have actually looked at it, or at least the defense don't seem to have pulled it apart. And not here to criticize the defense and say that I know better. I know they had limited resources and reasons, I'm sure, for how they kind of worked on the case, but there has always been something off with that footage. As soon as I saw it, I kind of felt that way, and I've done lots of research into what it could be over time, and I think now have settled on a final conclusion in relation to that. So initially, I thought maybe it was completely fake, that car that they said is Rick Allen's car was just completely fake, but that did seem like a big leap, particularly if the video was available and had been verified by the FBI. So I think what's happened instead is that they have somebody has deliberately, I won't blame anyone or name names, but at some point that footage has been used to extract stills, and for some reason the still of the suspect vehicle, the stills actually, are lower resolution. They are more blurred, more pixelated than the stills of other vehicles on that road that day. And interestingly, we've got the same camera, same road, same day, and yet somehow the stills of Betsy Blair's car, of Kelsey German's car, and Sarah Carbar's car are far more clear than the stills of what was labelled to be Richard Allen's car. Now, when you do a comparison of some of the surrounding details in that footage, like the other cars in the foreground, you see that the whole image is pixelated when it comes to the quote-unquote Richard Allen car, which suggests that they have extracted something of a far lower resolution when it comes to the suspect vehicle, which they haven't done with the others. I would like to understand why you would do that. That doesn't really make sense. Wouldn't you want to have a clearer image of the vehicle that is meant to be the suspect vehicle that we're trying to use to say that it's a Ford Focus? So major issue there. Always thought that footage looked really off. Pretty good reason now why they would want the stills to be used, because I think on closer inspection of a video, it'd be a lot clearer that that car is not a black Ford Focus. It's not Rick Allen's car. Another issue with the Hoosa Harvest store issue in general is that they labelled those stills Richard Allen's car. You can't label stills to be factually Richard Allen's car if you haven't actually factually proven that. And we don't see any evidence anywhere that that has been determined to be a black Ford Focus, and in particular Richard Allen's car. So another major issue that is misleading and problematic. So a couple of things there with the Hoosa Harvest store. I'm just thinking, is there anything else? I think I previously raised some issues around the chain of custody. It does seem like the chain of custody issue's been resolved. Mullins didn't go back to the Hoosa Harvest store in 2022 to get the footage, as far as I could read in the trial testimony. That was something that was tweeted by people who were at the trial. What it sounds like he did do was to go back to the footage itself, which was collected and verified by the FBI. But what wasn't necessarily collected and verified by the FBI were the stills, particularly not the stills of the suspect vehicle, because it seems more like that's been after the fact, 2022, let's find a car that looks like Rick Allen and pin it on him. You can see I'm getting really sick of this investigation. The snark is there, definitely. I'm going to admit it. So who extracted those images? Why were those particular images looking different to the images of others? Hello to the people watching. Thank you so much for watching. So yeah. And if that car is so important, if that 1:27 p.m. car is important, which it understandably would be because it is quite close to the crime, then why was that never raised by anybody in 2017, in 2019? No, it came to light in 2022 when they had already decided that Rick Allen was their guy. So very shonky, very dodgy. I don't believe it. Hoosa Harvest store footage, I think it needs to be challenged. I think people need to, not people, but someone, a digital forensics person, the lawyers need to look at the original video and make sense of why those stills are of such low quality compared to the other stills. Next issue, Rick Allen's phone. This is another one that I have been, I guess, a bit dogged about at times. Again, something that started from me maybe being on the right track, but with some errors in my reasoning, to now kind of coming to a clearer sense of what might be happening. So with Rick Allen's phone, I'm mindful that people are watching, but I don't know if I can see the chat. So apologies if I'm ignoring anyone. I'm still new to using these systems, so I'm not ignoring anyone if they're chatting. Nice to meet you guys, and thank you for joining, and certainly comment on the video if there are any things you want to say or clarify, or any opinions that you have. So looking at Rick Allen's phone, so I am looking over my screen so that I stay on track. So why did no one think to cross-check Rick's phone with the tower dumps? We know that there were tower dumps obtained, and it just seems like nobody checked whether Rick Allen's phone was in those tower dumps. They requested information from various cell providers. I don't understand why within that information there wasn't a search of Rick Allen's phone number, of his Mead hex number, which we know was present on the PCA and was correct. That was an error that I made previously, that maybe it was transposed. Someone had mentioned that, but that's not the case. Hi guys, now I can see some highs. Lovely to meet you guys. They had enough detail. I'm from Sydney. You can probably tell from my accent. the Aussie accent. So yeah, why did they not ever check whether his phone was one of those? Did they? Did they not? We don't know. We don't actually know for sure, but I'm assuming that if they did check and they had details to support that he was there at certain times, then one of the sides would have wanted to show that, because it would either be inculpatory or exculpatory. It can't be both, right? So, oh, hello, if you're an Australian too, lovely to meet you. Nice to see some other Aussies interested in the Delphi case. I know there are a few of us. So yeah, I know that they have apparently ruled out Rick Allen from being one of the 3 phones that were in the vicinity of, oh, you don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, okay. I'm talking about the Delphi case of Richard Allen, a man who has been convicted of a double homicide of 2 young girls in America. And I believe it's a wrongful conviction. So do a lot of people. So I'm just talking about the evidence in relation to that case, because it feels like an incredible miscarriage of justice, and there is an innocent man who has been sentenced to 130 years incarcerated for the rest of his life for a crime that I don't believe he committed. A man that had a history of anxiety and depression, and no history of crime or violence, who is suffering. And so, yeah, I'm interested in this case. I am a psychologist. That's where I got, and a true crime enthusiast, and I got involved and interested in this case probably about a year or so ago. Watched the trial that happened last year in October through to November, and then just kept digging deeper as more and more evidence came out from a psychological perspective. But now I've kind of also gone into looking at other evidence as well. So not sure if you're interested in that. Nice if you are. Nice that you're watching my video otherwise. Yeah. Look into Rick Allen. He is innocent, and oh, thanks, Rocky. He's innocent. He's an innocent man, and he deserves to have people looking into his case, because from everything that I have looked at and seen of this case, sorry, I'm going off track of my planned agenda, but happy to do that. From everything that you see in relation to this case, thanks, guys, for subbing. I really appreciate that, and certainly do look into the case more as well. I pretty much only talk about the case at the moment. I do have my chemo videos too, because I'm a breast cancer survivor, so if you're interested in that, that's my earlier videos, and I will in the future post some more videos on psychology, which is actually my area of expertise, but that's still in the making at the moment. At the moment, I'm hyper-focusing on Delphi. So I do have ADHD as well, just for the record, if you haven't already figured that out from the millions of tangents I'm going on and the hyperactive talking. So right now, my special focus is on Delphi and Rick Allen, and I'm not going to give up on it, because I see a vulnerable, good man stuck in jail for a crime he didn't commit, and I'm not going to give up on him, because I don't think he deserves that. Nobody deserves that. And there's a whole heap of us out there. If you're interested in the Delphi community, you're welcome to join the subreddit that I started called Delphi Mystery. Oh, okay, cool. Well, I'll check your YouTube channel out too, Ronaldo fan. What are you doing videos on? Back to my Delphi. I'm like a broken record here. I'm happy to chat with you guys, but I will still keep on talking about Delphi in the background, if that's okay. So yeah, if you're interested in more about Delphi and you want to join the Delphi Mystery community, we are the kindest community talking about Delphi online. I've had quite a bit of bullying from the other community, so that's my opinion. But yeah, happy for you guys to join our subreddit if you're interested. And on Twitter, you'll find me at Daisy Asks as well if you are interested in more. There are some really good YouTubers, and there's lots of great information on Delphi though, so definitely check that out if you're interested in this case. Okay, for the people who know about Delphi, gaming, my dog, and other casual videos. Oh, cute. What sort of dog do you have, Ronaldo? I love animals. I'm a cat lady, but I also have a dog who does appear sometimes in the background of my videos. So I have a cavoodle and I have 2 rescue cats, and they are my babies. I do have real babies too, but I love my animals. And if I ever make it big in any way in my life, my goal is to open a cat sanctuary and a therapy retreat where people like Rick Allen and people who are vulnerable and have really been broken by some of the injustices and difficulties in this world can come to recuperate, along with my kitties, who can be rescued and recuperate as well and live out their beautiful life with me or in the sanctuary or be adopted. So that's my goal. So if you subscribe to my channel, I don't know that this channel's going to make me the money to do that, but hopefully something will one day. So I think it's really cool that we have these lives though. So as much as I did the lives for Delphi, it's really sweet that I've got some other people coming in and saying hello. That's really nice. I can talk all day, so I'm happy to talk about anything. Hi, Abby. Oh, you've got a lovely doggy there too in your picture. Very cute. A sausage dog. They're really popular at the moment, particularly. I've seen a lot of people with little sausage dogs. They're really cute. My kids would love a tiny little sausage dog. I would definitely love another dog right now, but I've already got a house full. So, yeah. But yeah, I've got a cavoodle. I lost my beautiful, beautiful dog, Daisy, which is why I call myself Daisy, to 3 years ago to a brain tumor. So she was a Schnauzer cross, very beautiful, scruffy little dog that I rescued. So I would definitely love another little dog at some point. But yeah, probably not straight away. So I've got a cavoodle that was meant to be a toy cavoodle, but he is pretty giant. He's a bit of a hunk. We call him the Oaf. And he's about 15 kilos of dog when he was meant to be half that size. Thanks, Abby. It was really sad. It was so sad. She had, an intracranial tumor. She was 9 years old. And basically we did stereotactic radiotherapy. We tried everything. They said that might buy us a bit of extra time, and it bought us a few months, but not much. So we lost her, 3 years ago nearly now, a little bit later in the year. And then the month later I got diagnosed with breast cancer. So, wasn't a great era of my life. But, Daisy inspired me though. She was a beautiful little girl, happy and bouncy and positive right to the end, even though she had to cope with something she didn't deserve. So, yeah. Thanks, guys. I'm making some new friends here. I love this. Thank you. Sorry for the people who are watching this video for Delphi, though, because they're probably like, what is she talking about now? So, guys, I'm going to get back on track with Delphi, but please do keep talking to me. I'm happy to chat as well. Back to my Delphi people. I think I stopped at my first point about Rick Allen's phone. So we know that there were tower dumps that were done. They were referred to in some of the motions to compel and maybe in the motion in limine. I'm not too sure, but I looked at all this stuff over the weekend and now it's like my brain is foggy again. But essentially we know that they are requested from phone providers, the tower dumps for that area that day. Obviously that was used to do the cast analysis, which is I'm not even going to try and tell you what cast is, guys. It's a sort of cellular something analysis. I should be able to find it right now, but I'm just being lazy because it's the end of a work day. But those of you who are interested in Delphi and phone stuff will probably know what the cast analysis is. So that then kind of looked at triangulating 3 phones that were known to be around the crime scene, and apparently Rick Allen was ruled out of that. So that information would have come from the Seoul Tower dump. So realistically, that is a sign that they did use the tower dumps. I've lost my train of thought, guys. So the issue here is that the defense had the details from the tower dump. So did they actually cross-check that? And if they didn't, why not? I'm going to guess that data was really hard to figure out. It would have been just lines and lines of gobbledygook, but there would have been phone numbers and or mead identifiers that could have been checked. But we don't know if that data was presented in a searchable format. We don't know how that data was actually provided to the defence. But it's there. And that's something that hopefully might still have the potential to be searched and to show some exculpatory information around Rick Allen and his timeline that day. We don't know the duration that they've requested. We don't know the specific cell towers that were in that area and how accurate they are. Unfortunately, cell tower dumps are not as accurate, particularly in a small town, in a sort of more rural area, as geofencing, but they still potentially could have given some indication of Rick Allen's presence on the trails and the timing of his presence on the trails. So big thing to look into, and I'm hoping that that's something that they are looking into now. How do I get more subscribers? Oh, Ronaldo fan, I don't have a huge amount myself. Apologies. I guess if you create videos on a topic that people are really interested in, if you join other people's lives and get to know people on YouTube, could be another way. Promote your videos. I don't know. Probably don't ask me because I don't really have very many subscribers. So I'm certainly not great at promoting. So the geofencing is the next thing to talk about. So with the geofencing, we know that this was a big issue that was requested in the motion to compel, two motion to compels, I believe, and again brought up in the motion in limine. And the state just really wanted this geofencing suppressed. Now, when the defence brought it up, they brought it up more in relation to these three unknown phones rather than to Rick Allen specifically. Good night, Ronaldo fan. Nice to meet you. I'll check out your videos too. So the geofencing stuff, they really seemed to not want that included, and I think there's a good reason for that. The issue here is, though, that the geofencing data that it seems the defence had was stage 1 geofencing data. That is not going to help you identify who owns the phones. You need to request stage 2, 3 data to get subscriber information, and that then could have been cross-checked again against Rick's Google account, his phone number, his mead, various other identifiers. Now, again, given what I've read in the testimony from those hearings, Jennifer Auger talks about this, and they do not have that stage 2, 3 data. Now, even if they did get it at some point, it seems that a lot of the geofencing material was requested in 2019. Now, we've got to remember, Rick Allen wasn't on the radar then. He was no longer seen as a witness because they'd lost the tip, right? And on top of that, he was not a suspect yet. And there doesn't seem to be any reference to them going back and looking at the geofencing data in 2022 with the updated information from Rick Allen. Next question, why on earth were they only requesting that geofencing data in 2019? Or did they request it in 2017? And did they cross-check Rick Allen's phone back then? Hence why he was cleared. I've always believed that the phone is the key here. I believe that there is phone evidence that cleared Rick Allen, or at least there was. Whether it's still available now, I don't know. But I do believe that that's why the tip was marked cleared. We don't assume that law enforcement just went, oh, cleared. I have good vibes about this person. He's not the person who committed this double homicide in our rural community. No, it wouldn't be him. Cleared. And now we won't even file this correctly. We won't even talk to him again. He's just done. That isn't likely to be what happened. There must have been a reason he was cleared, and the reason I believe it's the phone is because the phone is probably had the most capacity to provide exculpatory information, along with maybe CCTV. Again, we don't know what's in the CCTV outside of the Hoosa Harvest store. We don't even know what's in that. We only know the few stills we've seen. But I do believe CCTV was provided to the defence, so I don't know what that shows. Again, whether that was cross-checked, whether they had the capacity to really Oh, bye, Abby. Thank you for coming. And yeah, I always save these lives, so you're welcome to come back and look again later if you're interested. So yeah, I mean, we don't know. There was just so many volumes of evidence and information. Could it all have been cross-checked? We know that the defense didn't have a lot of money given to them for analysis. They did have a few digital forensic experts from what I've seen. We heard from the expert that looked at Libby's phone, but there were two other experts that were paid for. Fairly small amounts though. So did that involve looking at any of this footage or tower dumps? We don't know. It wasn't presented at trial, so it's hard to know. Going back to the geofencing, I mean, the suppression of that is totally unfair because essentially that could have provided exculpatory information for Rick Allen. So I'm losing my train of thought. I hope you're following this. If you want it in more detail, absolutely go to Delphi Mystery, where I have a post now that sort of lists the narrative of all of this, and then previous posts that go into more depth on each of these issues in terms of how they were argued at trial and what evidence was or wasn't allowed, what cast is, all of that stuff. I have kind of kept a running document of that on Reddit and on X because I can't remember all of it. Otherwise, there's too much to unpack in this case. So yeah, the phone was lost, and apparently everyone likes to blame it on Rick hiding the phone or losing the one phone from the time of the murders. And they say, well, see, there you go, that's suspicious. Well, no, it's not, because most of us don't just have a murder era in our life where we do some bad stuff and then we get rid of that phone and then we're okay, because no phone prior or after ever had anything deviant. We were just deviant in that one little era of our life. That's not likely, it's not realistic, and in fact it would look really damning to just lose one phone. Instead, what's far more likely is that that phone was lost by other people. And given that they rushed in to do that, to execute that search warrant while they had Rick Allen at the station without his car, they'd driven him there that day, and they did that, executed that search warrant that same day. They didn't give him time to go and find that phone. Because I'm going to guess, and we'll never be able to prove this because we'll never find that phone, but I'm going to guess that that phone was exculpatory for Rick Allen. It's not too late though. They have the tower dump info. Hopefully that can show something. Hopefully the geofencing stage 1 report has the potential to still be followed up at this point. It has been years, but maybe it's still preserved. And also, I believe that the defense or appellate team or PCR team would be able to go to Google specifically and to phone providers and request information of what law enforcement requested. Because if it turns out that they requested that report in 2017 or at some point earlier than 2019, or they requested other reports that haven't been provided as discovery, that would be very telling, wouldn't it? So law enforcement can't just go and request information and then hide it and then re-request it and say, oh, here's our version of it. So hopefully the legal team will be doing that, have done that, will do that, because I think, again, I don't know, but I'm going to guess that stuff was requested at other points, and that at some point something from that geofencing or cell tower or phone provider data that was requested was exculpatory. And nobody has dug that far to find it because they have been sidetracked by all of the other craziness of this case. So those are the two main things that I've consistently kind of gone on and on about. They're two things where I initially got, oh, Diana, it's nice to see you. I don't know how, I can't add you onto my live. I wish I could. Would love to chat with you. I'm talking to lots of people who don't even know about Delphi, but they joined the live, which is lovely, very sweet. But what I'm doing is actually just like going through some of the evolution of my ideas around the evidence. So one of the things that, two of the things that I had sort of addressed months ago when I first started getting really into this case and being on social media was the Hoosa Harvest store footage and the phone, Mead, IMEI, and Rick Allen's phone, and more stuff's kind of come to light. Oh, hey, Ricky, free Ricky as well. Thank you, guys. Middle of the night. Oh, yeah, of course it is. That's right, because we usually talk like a bit earlier than this. What you doing up so early or late? We need to work on that sleep, Diana. Hey, Crystal. Nice to meet you, cute puppy. Oh, hey, Vicky. Sorry, I didn't see you there either. Oh, well, if you're Diana's bestie, then you are definitely someone who I will get on with, because I'm definitely enjoying chatting with Diana. She's awesome. No, Diana never sleeps. I know. I wish that I could never sleep and be as active as you are, Diana. My goodness, I need my good 9 hours sleep every night. Oh, I love you guys. This community is really sweet. Like Diana's community. Oh my goodness, gorgeous. I love you guys. You're wonderful. And you've helped me stick it out and stay on this case because, you know, I was about to give up a little while ago. The cute accent. I think people are like just coming onto my live because of my accent. They don't even know who Richard Allen is and they're just listening to the Australian accent. So that's okay. I mean, I've got that going for me. That helps. So yeah, I guess I've been like doing a whole long day of work today, and then I just decided this is the only time that I'm kid free. I'm in my clinic and I'm like, let's just keep talking, and I'm on fire this week because I've just been digging into this stuff a bit more over the weekend. So yeah, I guess what I was saying was that the Hoosa Harvest footage and Rick's phone have been things that I've been like stuck on for the last few months, and I feel like I've been on the right track, but there were a few factual things that I'd got wrong, or not necessarily. Well, I'm going to admit that I was wrong, but I don't mean that I got it wrong because I didn't know, but we didn't, I was still doing my research. And so now having done more research and looked at it more deeply and letting it kind of marinate over many, many weeks as I do, all my free time goes to Delphi and Rick Allen right now. I'm not going to give up. Absolutely not. I'm not going to give up because of Rick Allen. Essentially, because of Rick and Kathy and their family, and they deserve justice, and so do the girls, Abby and Libby, and I 100% believe that Rick Allen is innocent and that he is a vulnerable, kind man who has ended up in a terrible situation that is completely unimaginable and completely unfair for a man that already didn't have the easiest of lives given his history of anxiety and depression. So, no, I'm here. I'm going to continue to be here from the other side of the world, and I'm going to continue to speak up even if people don't like what I'm saying, because I speak from the heart and I speak from the research that I'm doing. And as you can see, I'm willing to evolve my opinion over time. So I've recognized that, like, sometimes I'll see things and I'll be like, this is important, but I may not know exactly which angle is important, but I know something's off. And then I just dig and dig and dig until we, get to a point where we're kind of starting to really uncover what might be off. So, with the Hoosa Harvest footage, I've literally been saying for 2 months or more now that there's something odd about the car and the footage. I wasn't sure if it was completely faked initially, which of course would be more hard to believe and it would be more hard to hide, particularly as the video clearly was provided to the defense. But I think now, looking at it again and noticing that the entire image of the stills of Rick's car, it's not Rick's car, but what they call Rick's car, is more pixelated and lower resolution, has really cemented that what they've potentially done is they've extracted those images using something else to what they've extracted the images of Kelsey and Betsy Blair and Sarah Karbar's car with, which doesn't make sense. Why would you want less clear images of a suspect vehicle than you would of witness vehicles? Because if you had the clarity that you had of the other images, for the suspect vehicle, you would see it's not a Ford Focus, or at least it's not Rick Allen's car. So some pretty deceptive stuff going on there, and interesting because, I'm not here to throw any allegations at any specific people, but the same names seem to always come up when the evidence is dodgy or lost. So I won't mention any names, but I think anyone in the Delphi community knows who I may be referring to. I said earlier on X today that, I try to be kind to everyone, but I just can't with some of these people involved in this case. It's just abhorrent, right? It's just disgusting. I saw on X this morning, I believe it was Michael Osbrook had posted the two pictures, next to each other. And yeah, I did. I saw that, and I was literally when you see them side by side, you see the pixelation as well. So yeah, I commented on that. I was like, I had always said that car does not look normal. The stills just make it look so blurred and weird. And I wasn't sure what they had done, whether they had inserted an image. That's what I initially thought. And then secondly, then I was like, okay, maybe they didn't, because that would be pretty wild if they did that. You couldn't do that on a video easily without, I'm guessing, a lot of technical know-how. But then I thought they'd sort of changed some pixels on the image to make it look more like Rick's car. And now I'm like, maybe they didn't even have to do that. Maybe they just got a really blurred, oh, hey, Beasley. Maybe they just got a really blurred, made sure it was really blurred so it really wasn't identifiable at all. And that way they can get away with it, because they can say, oh, oopsie, we just didn't get the best resolution picture. That's not our fault. We weren't deliberately doing it. I just always feel like this law enforcement team find ways to, or I'll allege this because I don't know this for sure, but they find ways to present information in a really crappy, terrible way so that it's not clear, and they do it confidently, and then they can say after that, if they get caught out, oh, but we didn't deliberately do it. They just make so many mistakes, and yet they still have jobs. There you go. So yeah, I feel like the psychology of this team, because it may not be the entire police department, don't get me wrong. But yeah, oh, thank you so much, guys, for promoting it. I really, really appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, I don't have good things to say about the law enforcement on this case. And interestingly, one of the things I found so super interesting, so initially, as any of you who know me know, I got into this analysis of the psychology of the case because that's probably the only area that I actually have any expertise in. I'm not a digital forensic expert, so I don't pretend to be, but I was like, is there any known offender that has ever, had similar characteristics to Rick Allen and committed a crime, of this type? And of course, no, there isn't, because the majority of offenders who kill and murder unrelated victims in such a horrific way at middle age have already done a lot of stuff prior, have had warning signs. And so Rick Allen is essentially a forensic unicorn. He does not match any known forensic offender profiles. I can't find another offender historically like him. And I'm not saying there wouldn't ever be anyone, but I haven't found them, and nobody else has ever raised that. They'll say, but what about BTK, or what about so-and-so? And I'm like, no, they started earlier. There were other indicators. Rick Allen is someone you would not expect to commit this sort of crime. Even the psychologist's testimony on both sides suggesting that he had dependent traits, that's negatively correlated with crime, particularly this sort of crime. So anyway, why was I saying that? Oh, yes, that's right. Sorry, guys, going off track here. The reason I'm saying that is because the chances of Rick Allen being the offender of this crime are so minuscule, but the probability of police tampering with evidence, that's not so minuscule. So the reality is that there is evidence that, in not just one or two cases, but in a lot of cases, that law enforcement departments, and I'm not just singling out Delphi here or the Indiana state police, but law enforcement cannot be trusted in all cases. There is more chance that they would tamper with evidence than a person like Rick Allen would commit this crime. And that is based on statistics and research. That isn't just an opinion here either. Yeah, I agree. He was so trusting. I always go back to the interrogation video where he says, I don't want to be anyone's fall guy. Not that I'm doubting your integrity or anything. Like, hey, Nicole, thank you for joining, guys. Oh, my goodness. This is just lovely. I really appreciate it. When I watched that interrogation video of Rick Allen, I'd been on the fence prior to that about his guilt. I didn't know enough of the details. I think that, I'd always leaned a little bit more towards innocence, but at one stage I leaned back towards guilt just based on what was being said and, the outcome of the trial. But I always was on the fence mostly. But when I saw that interrogation video, I went firmly into innocent and then then dug further, and that's when I looked at this Hoosa Harvest store stuff and all of the other stuff that has now got me completely convinced that man is not only innocent, but he, to me, presents as someone who is a gentle, kind soul. And that is why I won't give up, because I think no injustice is okay, but an injustice towards somebody who is actually a decent, good person, with a big heart, like, it's just not fair. And I'm going to keep fighting from my side of the world, which I know maybe doesn't have a huge impact, but I'll keep going. I'll keep trying. I'm not going to give up anytime soon. And having people come and join my lives and join the subreddit that I created suggests that I can have a little impact at least, which is really nice. And so I think what was so exciting this weekend for me when I was looking more into the actual evidence was that there's actually potentially evidence in discovery that would be available to Rick's legal team now that possibly can still be analysed further and provide exculpatory evidence, which is exciting. However, I know the legal system doesn't necessarily respond with the immediacy that I would like. I would love for it to be that when we find the exculpatory information or evidence that they can automatically say, well, that's not okay, and he could be back out with Kathy, but I know that's not how the legal system works. It totally sucks, though. It really, really sucks, and it makes me very, very sad and very angry, but we'll just keep plugging away, even if it takes years and lots of lack of sleep, just analysing this stuff. So there are other points that I can raise, but I'm just mindful of going on and on. If you guys are interested in reading this rather than listening to me babble on and on, it is posted on Delphi Mystery, the subreddit that I created when I got kicked out of all the others. And I didn't get kicked out for being mean, just letting everybody know. Apparently, providing evidence of Rick Allen's innocence that is based on, testimony and fact. And can you read it to us? I can read it to you. I'm the same as you, Diana. I don't like reading. I like things said to me. So I'll often plug things into ChatGPT and get it to say it back to me. I can read it to you. I've forgotten some of the things already, so it's better if I read it too. There was something I was saying. See, my brain. I have an excuse. It is now 8:30 and I did work today. So it was a therapy day. So I have an excuse that I can't remember what I'm even talking about anymore. But, oh, yes, that's right. I was talking about my other favourite topic of why I got kicked out of all of the Delphi groups. So yeah, spreading misinformation is talking about evidence and psychological testimony. And then I got kicked out from Delphi Docs for also talking about psychology and evidence. So neither side seems to like my evidence, but I'll keep going. That's why I created my own sub. And if you guys want to join that, that's cool. I won't read it now, Diana, because it's long and you'll be bored by it. But maybe at some point I'll read it out and do a separate video for that. Or I'll talk about it to you when we next meet on a live, because I think I've done enough talking today now. But thank you for joining. I really, really appreciate it. So nice to have a little community of people that are interested. Prior to you guys all joining, I had some people who knew nothing about Delphi chatting to me about dogs and telling me that they were interested in hearing what I had to say, even though they knew nothing about Rick Allen and Delphi. So who knows, maybe we got some new supporters. Thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, look, if I can bring in the supporters by having an Aussie accent, let's do it. What else can I use? My cats, my dogs? I'll do anything. I'll find new supporters. Should I be promoting my videos on my chemo group too? I've got like 900 subscribers or something there. So no, I won't do that. I won't spam a chemo group with Rick Allen stuff. I'll try and have some ethics there, but I've even got my clients talking about it, but I don't try to get my clients to join my Reddit, because that possibly is inappropriate. But I did get my receptionist to subscribe to my channel the other day. So I talk about Rick Allen everywhere I go. My goodness, I'm crazy. I'm certifiable. Oh, anyway. Okay, guys. Well, it is 8:30 here, so I will log off. And unlike Diana, I need my sleep. Oh, my therapist does too, Diana. I had a therapy session after I had spent the entire night awake looking into this case. Like, I literally did an all-nighter on it, and I called her and I'm like, am I manic? And she's like, no, Amrit. You're just somebody who just loves to deep dive and understand things and fight for somebody who you think is, is deserving of support. And I was like, okay, cool, lucky. Because I was starting to worry about myself. I was just getting so attached to this case. I'm so attached to this case that even my children know who Rick Allen is. They make plans about how one day Rick Allen is going to come to our cat sanctuary that hasn't been built yet, that I'll build once, I'm a gazillionaire in some way, and how because Rick and Kathy like cats, they can come visit. Like, ridiculous, I know, very silly. But my kids are justice warriors too. You're not crazy, Diana. No, of course not. Of course not. Anyway, a little bit of crazy's good. I love being quirky and silly, but I know some people don't like that about me. But I think most people can tell that I'm quirky, and I like it. I like being quirky. Anyway, guys, have a good night. Oh, your husband knows all about it too, Nicole. Yeah, for sure. Oh, my goodness. I try to get my mum into it. She's just not super keen. I am single at the moment, but I mean, absolutely. If I had a partner right now, they'd be like knowing all about it. They would need to be watching all my lives, and I'd probably get them. I mean, my kids are too young. I wouldn't put them on a video, but like I would love for like them, like we would read out the testimony together. And I'm like, no, we got to just wait till you're the right age to do that, because you're a little bit young for it right now. But absolutely, if I had a partner right now, he would be reading out the testimony with me, and yeah. They do love cats, Diana. And I remember this funny, well, it's not really funny because it's about the case, but I remember when I listened to the interrogation video and he's talking about Kathy having the cat plates on her car. And like the cat lady in me just was like, well, he can't possibly be the offender then. He wouldn't drive a car with cat plates to a crime scene. Because like, gosh, someone like me would be like, oh yeah, it was the car with the cute kitty plates. So that was an interesting little fact there. And then when you see the exhibits and it's his tool bench and it's got the plush cat on it, and it just breaks my heart because that man loves cats. And I was talking at some point about how they apparently they dug up the grave of his cat when they were doing the search warrants, and my son literally nearly started crying. He literally started like going, how dare they do that? How could they do that? They can't dig up the grave of a cat. And I was like, no, they can't. They shouldn't have. And it sucks and it's disgusting. And it's particularly disgusting if that law enforcement knew that he wasn't guilty. It's just awful, like horrendous. So I don't know if that's true or whether that was a rumor, but really gross what they've put this man through. He did not deserve any of this. And, yeah, it's kind of inconvenient for them that there's a whole heap of us that aren't giving up. And I'm probably a bit of a dangerous person to them because they can't even do anything to me because I live on the other side of the world. What are you going to do? You can't shut me up. So, yeah, I will not be silenced about this case. I will not be silenced about any case that can't come across. So if anyone knows any other cases, I'm happy to get on board with them. I'd love to join the Innocence Project. I really think that there's a place for psychology in those sorts of projects. I know that there are psychologists already working on things like that. But yeah, when I have my cat sanctuary, I will lay out in the sunshine with my cats on my laptop working for the Innocence Project. So watch this space, guys. I don't. How do I say Joe Lewis? No, I don't. So no, yeah, tell me more. But yeah, I would join the Innocence Project. I mean, I do already, like, I have worked for forensics before, but even now, I like some of my clients, it's like you were saying, I'm not very articulate. Some of my clients do end up having, legal issues here and there, and I do reports at times for the courts to explain mitigating circumstances and things like that. So it's definitely an area that I'm interested in. Oh, okay. Oh, what's Rumble? I'll have to look into him then. Can you send me the link, Diana, if you can? That'd be awesome. I'd love to meet another Aussie that's interested in the case. I've seen a few online who are Aussie and kind of in the Delphi sphere. But yeah, I'd love to. I think I remember hearing about Crime Night. Yeah, I would love that because, I'm on a completely different time zone to all the rest of you guys. So a lot of the time I can't always communicate with you guys because you'll be online when I'm asleep or at work. So I'd love some more Aussies involved in this case. Oh, so just like me then, Diana, because I'm like ridiculously passionate. I know, it's intense. It's intense. I literally feel like with this case, having learnt so much about, Rick and Kathy and Abby and Libby, like, I mean, I always felt empathy for them, but like, I get so invested. Like, you just become so invested in people that you've never met. And you feel like you know them and you just want to stand by them. And I know that people who don't like me will say again that I'm fan fictioning or something like that. But it's like, it's not like trying to be a weird person that's inserting myself into their story. It's more just like it's just all hit a nerve. Rick Allen absolutely reminds me of so many of my clients. He reminds me of myself to some extent, and he reminds me of my dad. And is there some countertransference type stuff going on here? Yes, I'm not his therapist, so it doesn't even matter. But yeah, I definitely am passionate about helping people who remind me of people that I care about. And so, yeah, anyway. And Abby and Libby, they could be any of the young girls that I've worked with. It could be us when we were younger, and it's hideous what happened to them. And Rick Allen being incarcerated for their murders is not helping them. It is not getting justice for them, and it is not letting them rest easy because justice hasn't been served. Whoever murdered those girls had scared those girls. That's what I believe. When you look at that picture of them in the car, they are not happy girls. And I believe they knew who they were meeting. I believe that the person or people that they were meeting were people that they were scared of, that they had some dealings with in some regard. And that's what my gut tells me. I'm not allowed to use my gut though, because then I'll be accused of using vibes. But no, I mean, like, even just looking into the case and picking all the pieces apart. I obviously don't know as much as people who've been researching this case for years and years on end, but I do think that I've picked up a pretty good handle of a lot of this. And that photo, looking at it as a therapist, Abby looks deeply traumatized in that photo in the car, and Libby looks protective. So my theory, which again is not confirmed by any substantial evidence, is that they were meeting up with someone who had hurt Abby in some way, and Libby was going to protect her best friend. So I think those two girls were struggling with stuff that young girls shouldn't have been struggling with, and they were being brave and trying to, avenge whatever was going on or deal with whatever was going on, and that is how this happened. They certainly didn't accidentally come upon Rick Allen, and he had a murderous episode, because he was in his murderer era of his life. Like, it's ridiculous. And I think what's really sad is that I do believe Rick Allen was sitting on that 505 bench just minutes earlier. And if he had been there at the scene later, I think he would have tried to intervene because he's a dad. I mean, even if you're not a dad, but, particularly if you're a dad, a loving dad to a daughter, and you see two girls in distress, he would have got involved. But who knows? Who knows what his fate would have been then too? Would they have hurt him too? It's hard to know. If they had a gun, they probably could have. But I think the sad thing here is that Rick is being seen as the person who was the monster on the trails, when actually I think he potentially could have been a person on the trails that could have helped and supported those girls, and I think he would have, because he seems like someone who is actually high in empathy. And I know that I'll get, grilled for saying this sort of stuff because people say you're supporting a child murderer, but I'm not, because I do not believe he is a child murderer. I don't believe that he's deviant in any way. And everything that we've seen of him, the way that he held himself in those interrogations, the way that he speaks to his wife, the fact that he has this long-term relationship that seemed happy and well-adjusted. He's close to his sister, his mum. His daughter seems to love her dad and be close to the family as well. The fact that his colleagues, co-workers, people who went into the CVS all had positive things to say about him, speaks to him being a gentle, decent man. And that's the man I'm supporting. He's not a child murderer. I wouldn't support somebody who did sadistically kill two girls. No, I wouldn't. I would still say that I wouldn't treat them with a lack of empathy, because that's just not my personality to do that. But I would hope that they had justice and that they were incarcerated. But I don't feel that for Rick Allen, because he is not a child murderer. Anyway, on that note, it is getting late. Thank you guys for joining me, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.